Stop focusing on classical chart patterns while ignoring fundamental context. Listen up, people. Bitcoin is forming a monthly head and shoulders pattern. Yes, that's right, monthly. And we're sitting right on a massive support zone between 68,000 and 55,000. Solana just went a few dollars away from my full take profit, and then what? It reversed. And then Morpho, the trade entered earlier than expected. And I'm also looking at this new Doge setup, which actually is in play now. And we're going to talk about that in this video, so make sure you stick around. This is not a random pullback. This is a structural moment. Some traders, they don't know what to do, okay? While others, they see accumulation before expansion. One side is going to be very wrong here. And the move that follows this is not going to be small. And also, people, if this video helps you, do yourself a favor. Click the subscribe button. All you have to do is press it right there like that. And let's get up to 35 likes on this video. Just press the like button. It's so easy to do, and it doesn't cost you anything. Also, if you also want real-time updates, make sure you check out my live Telegram channel. It's free, and the link is in the description right there. All right, people. So before we get into all the details, let's go! So first, we're going to talk about this. All right? So we got here, this is no longer speculation, okay? We have geopolitical positioning. Venezuela's next leader just proposed selling oil for Bitcoin and developing a massive national Bitcoin reserve. Let's take a quick listen.
To have other people understand, the huge potential Venezuela has, not only for Bitcoin, because this is something we didn't have the chance to speak today, probably not another opportunity, but Venezuela could be the biggest energy hub of the hemisphere. Mm-hmm. And imagine a country with this potential, what could do in terms of getting Bitcoin to be a trade and
Okay, you get the idea. So let that sink in, right? First it was El Salvador, now it's Venezuela. And this is turning into a Bitcoin's arm race. And by the way, yes, she's my type. Okay, let's move along here. Now, as you guys know, Trump has been talking a lot about this Clarity Act. He keeps talking about it's going to come out any day now, folks. Any day now. But here's the thing. There's actually, it looks like by April, okay? So just so you know, there's now a 72% chance in the betting markets for April. Just keep an eye on this. And you guys should be researching this before it comes out because there could be a lot of information that could be helpful in that act. Okay, and then there's this. 110 billion banking giant BBVA is now starting buying Bitcoin and buying and selling Bitcoin across all of Europe. 77 million customers. That's not retail hype. That's institutional at scale. This isn't just bullish. This is structural adoption happening in real time. Country reserves, regulatory shifts, major banks integrating Bitcoin. People, prepare yourselves, okay? Because the narrative is only accelerating. Now, let's get into the chart, shall we? So we're going to begin here with the Bitcoin monthly time frame. So we have a Bitcoin is forming a head and shoulders formation, right? Yes, that's a classical chart pattern. So we have the left shoulder, as you can see, then we have the head, and we have the right shoulder. It's actually inverted. But here's the key. The right shoulder is sitting right on a major support zone between the 68K and 55K area. That's a pretty big deal because that changes everything, okay? Because patterns alone mean nothing with context. And context is here. The context in this particular example is strong support. So what am I waiting for? Confirmation, no blind entries. If we break structure with strength and confirm continuation, I'll update it live in my free Telegram. No guessing, just confirmation. All right, now let's move along to the weekly time frame. All right, so here's the thing, big picture. Many people looked at this section right over here, okay, this area, and they basically said, you know what? They called it compression. But on the weekly time frame, that entire phase was actually consolidation, weeks of compression. Then what happened? Price pulled back into the support. That was not just massive selling. That was manipulation into support because long term, Bitcoin is actually still bullish. If you look at the larger time frame, the larger structure, okay? That's important to understand. So before expansion, you have to realize markets accumulate, then they manipulate, and then they squeeze out, right? Everyone that's on the wrong side, they squeeze out. And that's what you see in this section here. That is what this represents, right? And we are inside the support phase of that cycle. Now, let's jump over to the daily time frame. So in this here, we are inside the weekly bullish order block. That is strong. I don't care about opinions. I care about levels. And I need to see price close above, which it's been managing to do. It's staying above there, right? So we need to see price above 72,500. Then a push up to 80,000. Then a push up to 90,000. Step by step. No shortcuts. If we start reclaiming those levels, momentum shifts aggressively. Until then, we have to respect the structure. Okay, now let's go into our trade updates, shall we? We'll begin here with Solana. So I'm not going to lie. This one bothered me a little bit, right? Price was very close to the profit objective. Very close. And then it reversed. But look, you have to stay with the plan, okay? Stop losses at break even. And you may ask, how come I never closed it? I could have closed it early, right? Could have took some profit. Sure, after the fact. Because I'm following my advantage, okay? And one of my rules is if price is near the profit objective and no obvious signals are there, then you let it go for the profit objective or it goes to break even. It's one or the other, okay? Closing early out of fear, that's emotional. And while sometimes it works and you're able to get away with some money, over many trades, it doesn't work, okay? So you got to stick to the rules. It's the plan over the emotion. All right, let's move on to Morpho. Okay, now this one changed slightly. Originally, my entry was at the daily fair value gap, right? But when price formed a 3-candle structure followed by a bullish engulfing into resistance, that told me price wasn't going to return into the fair value gap. So I had to adjust, right? I entered at candle close. The reward risk shifted from 3-to-1 to 2-to-1. All right, hey, that happens sometimes. You have to be flexible. I prefer being in the trade over missing it, right? Currently, we're getting near the profit objective, right? The first one. So all of this was explained in detail in the Telegram channel. So I hope you're in there. No excuses, people. All right, now let's get into the Doge trade. Because here's the thing. This trade is now active, right? And it's almost near the stop. So let me just tell you what's happening here. First, saw the doji form inside the imbalance. That was just this area up in here, followed by a strong bullish candle, okay, up in here. That tells me that the buyers were actually stepping in. Above price, we had very clean, drawn liquidity. And then when that liquidity was obvious, it usually gets cleared, right? Now, going into the 3-hour, right, that was on this side. Going on to the 3-hour over here, right, structure is aligning for a potential continuation move. But the thing is, right, it's pulled back. So I'm going to explain the plan and explain to you where we are right now. The plan was the entry here, which was around 0991, okay? That was basically the entry area between 0991 and 10 cents even. And we're obviously this trade is active now. The stop loss is at 0963. It's almost there, okay? It's close. But look, if it goes to the stop, it goes to the stop. That's the story, man. But it's not there yet. Okay, the primary objective is around the 1049 to 1050 area. You can see the illustration here. So that's what I'm looking for. So we'll see how this trade plays out. And again, it will be updated in the Telegram channel. So the risk on this is 1% of the account as usual. It's simple, it's clean, it's structured, no guessing. So we'll see how that goes. Again, watch for the Telegram because we'll update it in there. Now, speaking of updates, let's talk about the trade challenge real quick because this is where every entry is shared. No hindsight, no nonsense. So right now, look, not every trade looks perfect. Solana reversed near the take profit, right? Morpho is active. And the new Dogecoin, that's almost at the stop. So we have to see how that goes, right? But because we are not judging the advantage over 5 trades, we judge it over 50, 100, 200 trades. It's the plan over the emotion. So some days are clean, other days they require the real test of patience, right? But the key is simple. We keep following our plan. All trades are tracked inside Profits Precision, and I genuinely like to use it daily to monitor stats, R multiples, and performance. It keeps me objective. And by the way, the first 30 days are free. So I use it because it's practical. You should check it out too. Here's the website, Profits Precision. You've seen it many times. Also, by the way, all trades are taken on the WeX platform. Clean fills, fast interface, smooth order management. When you're looking for precision, this really matters, right? So we're developing this properly, step by step. So people, let's go over a quick summary, right? And by the way, as you guys know, here, let me just show you. You can find all those links in the description, especially the Telegram link. That's where you should be looking. So let's go over the recap real quick, right? So Bitcoin forming a monthly head and shoulders, as you know. We have massive support between 68,000 and 55K. We also have weekly structure showing consolidation and manipulation into support. The daily, it needs to reclaim 72.5, 80,000, and 90,000. Okay, we have Solana. It was near the take profit. It was near the profit objective, but then, it went to the break even. Okay, no problem. We also have the new Doge, or the Morpho trade, right? That was adjusted based on the structure. And we have this new Doge trade, which we'll have to see how that plays out. Okay, while the macro narrative continues to heat up globally. This is not random. This is structural positioning, people, and you need to be prepared for that. All right, so people, now listen up carefully. I share a new trade setup almost every single day. Not after the move, not when it's obvious, but before it happens. Entries, stop losses, take profits, everything. And as you know where you can find that, right? You know it's all here in the Telegram channel. So the market is compressing right now, and the macro is heating up, and the structure is developing. And when it expands, it's going to move fast. I don't want to hear you tell me, I missed it, or whatever. Be positioned. Join the Telegram. It's right here. Right? It's very easy. Come on, let's develop this properly and let's go on this journey together. All right, people? So keep an eye on these trades. Stay patient, stay calm, and I will see you in the next one.